Oh my god, what a game. Timberwolves pick up the win 114 to 109 in overtime against the Boston Celtics, who were 5-0 coming in tonight. Timberwolves are now 4-2 after this victory over them. Got it in Target Center. I was in attendance. It was a loud, energetic atmosphere, very supportive. And that was just so exhilarating for a pretty ugly game in stretches. I was worried early on. I will tell you, Joe Mazzulla came up with a good game plan. He looked at the two most mentally fuck-with-itable Timberwolves players of Karl Anthony Towns and Jaden McDaniels, and he's like, these are the guys that we're going to fuck with. It's a pretty good strategy, you know? They got Drew Holiday, pesky defender, guarding Karl Anthony Towns, considered by many players and people as the best perimeter defender in basketball. But he's a guard, guarding Karl Anthony Towns. What does Karl Anthony Towns mostly do to try to abuse this? Play on the perimeter or take 4 dribbles in the post before doing anything, because that's what Cat does. Has a horrendous night out of Karl Anthony Towns. 7 turnovers, fouls out of this one. Just a horrible, horrible evening out of him. If this team is going to have anything holding him back, it's probably Cat at this point, as much as I would love to support him. And that's not to say that it can't work, but if something's going to hold them back, it's probably Cat. Also, they press a fair amount in that first half, and then they're leaving Jaden McDaniels for 3 a lot of the game. Also Kyle Anderson. So kind of that 3 or 4 player that you don't expect to really kill you from 3. Although Jaden McDaniels is a good 3-point shooter. He just didn't really have it tonight, and he can get in his own head. And offensively, he was awkward in this one, although he would hit clutch shots. Couple clutch threes. Also kind of the ceiling bucket in this one. A mid-range shot over Porzingis as he toppled over, and that was just a dagger. Jaden also defensively was a monster. I came up strolling in the Jaden shirt. We also got the Lake slow-mo. I was like, God damn, I curse these people every time that I wear their gear, because slow-mo was not good in this one. I gotta say, the numbers weren't impressive offensively. He was kind of getting all that space from Porzingis and not punishing with it, in addition to really getting cooked on defense. Jason Tatum, anytime he saw someone not named Jaden McDaniels, it was just 2 or 3 points instantly, every time. He had 10 missed shots. I feel like maybe all of them were on Jaden, but at least the majority of them, because he could not do anything when McDaniels was on him, unless he was getting a bailout foul call, as the Insukki Rhymes would give Boston a fair amount of those. The Celtics would get, I think it was 10 or 11 more free throws than the Wolves in this one, and the Timberwolves would also shoot 50%-ish at that. I don't know, 9 of those were Rudy, 9 of the misses. He was 2 of 11, although he had a great game. Even was getting Rudy chants in this one from the crowd, pretty supportive of him, despite the horrific shooting out of him. But he played another good game. Naz Reid provided a spark in the first quarter, mostly. We didn't involve him much as the game progressed, as it became pretty star-centric and Ant-centric in specific, because he came in with a scorer's mentality, and he was getting buckets for sure. 38 points tonight. He was getting MVP chance through this one, and not my favorite Ant game. He was incredible on defense as well. Lockdown, super great ball pressure. Had some bogus foul calls on him too. Had 5 in this game, so his playing time was a little limited through that. But he was scoring so well, and also completely ignoring wide open Timberwolves shooters. It was driving me nuts. I was like yelling. I'm like, that Naz Reid is wide open. 1 pass away. Karl Anthony Towns, skip pass. Conley, 1 pass away. What are we doing? Get rid of the ball, Ant. Stop shooting over these double teams. Okay, he made it that time. He made it again. Like, Ant wasn't even looking at his teammates through so much of this one. It was bizarre. A lot of times I want him to be a little bit more aggressive. We got aggressive Ant tonight. That was just bizarre. His approach. He did not want to throw the ball. I almost got through this one without like losing my voice. Well, I didn't lose it, but impacting it. But the overtime, I had to just get yelling, get screaming, get loud for the squad, and then it began to take its toll a little bit. This is a game that I didn't love I despised our late game execution offensively, as I always do. We go so slowly, don't get into action fast enough, and then throw up a horrendous shot just about every time. It's usually a step back three by Anthony Edwards. That was the last shot that we got in regulation, which would allow Jaylen Brown to have basically the same attempt over Jaden McDaniels, which you would miss because you don't make jump shots over Jaden McDaniels or just about anything. He brings the D. But I was pretty upset with the Timberwolves in that situation too. We had 32 seconds left, had just got the ball. I'm like, we go 2 for 1 in this one. Our late game execution is so bad, we never get a good shot, and just chuck up a 3 right away. Or someone take a quick shot so we get 2 chances. Instead, we wind the clock all the way down. Ant takes his step back, misses it, and they have the chance to win the game. We just don't get good shots late game. That's the most concerning thing about this team. We went up against the number 1 offense, the Boston Celtics. We're the number 1 defense. We are really, really solid on D right now, but we are a mess offensively. And the only reason that we kind of squeaked out with our horrible late game execution, that's the Boston Celtics' main weakness too. But also Anthony Edwards stepped up in the clutch and hit some tough buckets, mostly more in overtime. Also Mike Conley in the clutch. Not a very big game out of him. However, he would hit a huge 3 in overtime. He'd hit a big-time floater. He forced an offensive foul. His screen navigation is so disciplined and good that people, if they make a mistake, they're going to clip him. He's going to fall to the ground. Offensive foul. We get that possession. 0 turnovers out of Conley again. That's 6 games into the season. He has 1 turnover, and it was the first, I think it was 15 seconds of game 1. This dude is so good for us on a night where the Timberwolves have 24 turnovers. We can't afford more. So it's so good to have this stud that is steady and not causing problems and that we can rely on, unlike Karl Anthony Towns especially. Anthony Edwards is a pretty high turnover player, makes some careless plays. Jaden McDaniels hasn't gotten the fluidity to his offense exactly right yet. Another note on that, he took a good amount of mid-range jumpers in this one and really was so tentative around the rim. That's the biggest problem. Last year, a lot of times when he would get under the rim, he would just rise up and dunk because he's so athletic, he's so tall. A lot of times it looked like he just wanted no part of it. He's like, all right, I got under the rim, I penetrated to the rim, that's like my job, all right. Someone else take this grenade. I don't want this responsibility anymore. And he had a lot of really easy attempts at the rim that he could have taken that he didn't. Once he learns to progress with that a little bit more, becomes a bit more imposing of a player, gets to the free throw line more doing those things, that's going to help his offensive game a lot. I think that'll just come with maturity and kind of more leaning on him, but Jaden stepped up when we needed it most, even when it looked like he was just uncomfortable on that end. And defensively, you got to watch this dude play. He keeps stars locked up. Jason Tatum. When we were switching Naz Reid or Kyle Anderson onto him, it was a death sentence to those men who are competent defenders, especially Kyle Anderson. And he was just torching them. Jaden McDaniels gets on this dude. He was almost useless. It was so remarkable to watch. Who else do we have to talk about? Nickeil Alexander-Walker made some big plays in this one. 8 points out of him. They were big shots, big plays. His defensive pressure was good yet again, as it just about always is with Nickeil as well. Not a lot of other big contributors out of this game. I think that's everything we got. You got to be thrilled with this game. We are 4-0 at home. We have beat the Nuggets and the Celtics now. We're the only teams who have beat them. Like, those are legit contenders as well. And we've kind of smacked them up here in Minnesota. Like, we got something brewing. This defense is unreal. We made so many mistakes in that game. Didn't play close to perfect, but we were still in it. Because this defense is something else. And it's fun to watch. Let me tell you, like, you would think a lot of these games bogged down, low scoring. Yo, you watch this defense, man. We got that D. Is that good D? You want to watch a good D. That's it. All right, bye. I'll be in person in the game for the Pelicans on Wednesday as well. It's kind of a womb bouquet present from my grandma and so I'll have better seats for this one. It'll be an interesting one.